Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. How often have we said it, but British title fights, area title fights often produce really good contests. And there was another one today between Qais Ashfaq and Liam Dillon. And Ashfaq, he came in with a 12-1 record. Southpaw, 30 years of age, from Leeds. 5 stoppages or knockouts in the win column. One of his the only defeat he had coming in was on points. He was down twice in that fight, in the 4th and the 7th round, and that was against Mark Leach. But this was a vacant British super featherweight title fight, and he was in against Liam Dillon, who had a very similar record: 12 wins, 3 KOs, no defeats and 1 draw. The draw was for the English title back in 2019. It was a split draw to Youssef Amani, but then he did actually go on to win the vacant English super featherweight title, and he beat was it Dennis Warholm, I think, a majority decision. He was previously unbeaten, Dennis was, and also in his last fight, Liam fought Joshua Wahab, who was undefeated, 22-0, and he beat him on majority decision over 12. So I think if you look at their respective records, definitely Liam Dillon had probably the higher calibre of opponent. Qais Ashfaq, most of his, if you look down down the list of opponents, most of them are journeymen. He won a technical decision over Joe Ham when Joe was 16-1. That was back in 2019. But most of them have been journeyman types. Definitely Liam, I think, with a higher calibre of opposition. And this was a really good fight, because, not least of all, because you had the Southpaw, which was Ashfaq, the Orthodox, which was Dillon. Liam Dillon, by the way, is from Chingford. He's 27, so he's 3 years younger than Ashfaq. And it was a good fight because the styles they are such opposing styles. Ashfaq likes to move, likes to box on the back foot, kind of slick. Dillon, come forward, quite a narrow-shouldered guy, but big, powerful, stocky sort of guy. And I think he was listed at 5'7", Liam, whereas Ashfaq he's listed, I think, the same height, but he looked a bit taller than me. I could be wrong. But definitely what Liam had to do in this fight was just put the pressure on constantly, take the initiative, and that's exactly what he did in the first round. He came out, he tried to ruffle Ashfaq. Ashfaq, was going to be looking to be on the back foot, jab a lot, counter a lot, and Liam just had to take the bull by the horns. And even though this was a 12-rounder, he's been 12 before. He went 12 in his last fight. He's going to have to get close and do his thing, and he was doing it. And it was unsettling Ashfaq. I mean, in the first round, I gave it to Dillon, clearly. Ashfaq didn't really do anything. Second round, bit closer. I thought I edged it towards... I edged the next two, actually, the second and the third, very slightly towards Ashfaq. But you could almost say they were swing rounds. Then in the fourth, there was a really interesting knockdown because Dillon moved in and was scuffing away, hitting to the body, hitting the arms, and Ashfaq sort of fell in, almost expecting the referee to separate them. But he actually fell to his knees, and the referee, Howard Foster, called it a count. And I don't blame Howard Foster for doing that, because Ashfaq, it's almost like he took a knee without realising he was taking a knee, if you know what I mean. And that was a knockdown. That's a bit of bad news. But there's no doubt that Ashfaq was beginning to look tired and very much unsettled by Dillon's constant pressure. It wasn't scientific what Dillon was doing. He was moving in, and there wasn't a lot of jabbing going on, but they were huge hooks. He was trying to hit anything. It was just pressure, and it was getting to Ashfaq. So that's a third of the fight gone, and I made it 2 rounds each, but I've got Dillon a point ahead because of the knockdown. Now in the 5th round, there was a little bit of a twist because Dillon suddenly started bleeding from, was it his left eye? I think it was his left eye. Or was it? Yeah, because they both picked up cuts during the fight. I think it was his left eye. Or was it? No, was it? I think it might be his right. Dillon got the cut over the right eye. Yeah, and the blood was coming down quite quite profusely. That was Ashfaq's round. Clearly, they, between rounds they sorted the eye out. Wasn't really a problem. And then in the sixth, I think, where did I make the sixth? I thought Ashfaq might have taken the sixth as well. In the seventh, was it, or the eighth? Ashfaq picked up a cut of his own. That was over the left eye. And there's no doubt that, the cleaner punches were coming from Ashfaq. The cleaner, sharper punches. There just weren't enough of them. Because Dillon was going in and he was landing his own punches. This wasn't a case of him just scuffing and, pouring and mauling. No. He was landing some good punches, uppercuts, round a corner, hooks, double hooks. And it was good stuff from Dillon. And Ashfaq was really looking, quite exhausted. And in the ninth round, another of those weird knockdowns happened because he fell in. I think he was on the ropes. He fell forward. Dillon still letting the punches go no matter what they're hitting, and Ashfaq went to his knees, and the referee again called it a knockdown, and I think that was by the ropes actually. And you can see Ashfaq looking at Howard Foster going, well, that wasn't a knockdown. Well, it was, because you're taking a knee essentially. You can't just wait for the referee. So you can't just fall over and say it, and the referee says, well, that was a slip. It wasn't a slip. You went down. He gets up, and of course that's 2 knockdowns against him. And for the rest of the fight, I thought Dillon probably was edging the rounds, because he was. Actually, after 9 rounds, I had him behind on rounds, but with 2 knockdowns, it was sort of even. And then I thought over the last 3 rounds, the last quarter of the fight, Dillon basically edged it and finished quite strong. And at the end of the 12 rounds, I had this 114 to 112, 6 rounds each, 114 to 112 in favour of Liam Dillon. In fact, this was a split decision, because I think Michael Alexander had it 115, 112 to Dillon. Was it 115? Yeah, 115, 112, Michael Alexander. Then Ron Kearney had it 115, 112 to Ashfaq, which I just don't agree with at all. Don't agree with that at all. And then thankfully Terry O'Connor had it 117, 110 to Dillon, because if Ashfaq had got this fight, no, I don't think so. Not with those 2 knockdowns. But there weren't much in it in rounds. Like I say, I made it 6 rounds each. But so yeah, the new British super featherweight champ is Liam Dillon from Chingford, and well done to him. I think he might have started as a bit of an underdog, even though he was undefeated. But Ashfaq just didn't land enough punches. He wasn't elusive enough. He was trying to counter too much. He wasn't proactive enough. I just thought Dillon deserved to win the fight, even though the slicker stuff was coming from Ashfaq and he was getting rounds. So I'm kind of glad. Excuse me. I'm kind of glad Liam Dillon won the contest. Thought he deserved it. But again, another really intriguing British title fight. Did you see it? It was on DAZN. Let me know your thoughts. Leave your comments below, and I'll answer them. And if you're new to the channel, you could subscribe. That'd be brilliant. Hit the like button as well. It helps us out a big deal. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Appreciate your time as always. Bye for now.